Brittany Merlot. Mostly sunny with summery highs today climbing to the low 80s. A shot of showers and storms do spark up this afternoon, some of which could be packing some heavy downpours and frequent lightning. We put the sunny and comfortable conditions on repeat for tomorrow, too, and some spotty shower chances still linger. This all ahead of the heat and humidity building in for the weekend. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently 82 degrees.
And, of course, if there is severe weather, we'll be on the air with it because we cover severe weather like nobody else here at the mighty 1630 KCJJ. We'll have our usual wall-to-wall coverage or whatever coverage we do. We'll be here for you. My name is Tommy Lang. Up next, it is time for Senior Talk, which we do every Wednesday during the noon hour. It's brought to you by the Solon American Legion. And here's your host, Rex Brandstatter.
Thank you, Tommy. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, this is Rex Brandstatter, and it is time for Senior Talk on a beautiful, so far, July day. The humidity's cranking up and the heat's cranking up. Actually, it's just the way I like it, so this is playing right into my hands because I value this much more than 10 below zero with the wind out of the north. That's just me. Well, anyhow, folks, same weather forecast. We're going to get it. You know, we could get this humidity. We're going to get it. We all know it, so we just take care. So listen, it's the senior greetings from me here at Senior Talk, the weekly radio program where we try to identify and examine and share important and timely information for we and you fellow seniors. And, of course, thank you so much for tuning in and taking time out of your busy day. Spend a few moments here, see what we can cook up. Maybe I can come up with some things that might pertain to you or help you or your family members or friends or the guys down at the coffee shop or some of you ladies, your little group. It only takes one thing, the good suggestion. And matter of fact, I'll tell you about a guy who came to my office this morning. And that's what we do here on Senior Talk. And along the way, we come up with some ideas and recollections of past people and places and things and events, things that we seniors do best. We remember everything from 26 years ago, 47 years ago. We're good at that. That is for sure. Well, my name is Rex Brandstatter, and I'm 74 years old. And I think that we seniors have a lot on our minds, and we're going to talk about it. Oh, I've been a licensed real estate broker here in working mostly in Corville and Iowa City area, Johns County, since 1974, helping people buy and sell homes, determine values of homes, investment properties, and commercial properties. And if you need any help with that, I'm at 319-330-5534. 330-5534. I work with lots and lots of estates and executors and administrators of estates. I work with trust departments of banks. Attorneys call me to help Mrs. Smith, who now passed away, or Mr. Smith, who now is going to need a different living arrangement and needs to sell his house. So if you're in that boat, or just you and your family would like to talk, we meet at your house, we meet at a coffee shop, and we meet at my office, which has air conditioning, by the way, folks. Just give me a call on my senior line, 330-5534. Well, you know, this weather it's summer, and it's great, and it's heat and sunshine and humidity and rain and all that kind of stuff. It's just, and it's sweet corn. That's right here, fresh tomatoes. It's Iowa, folks. It's Iowa. And speaking of Iowa, I drove to the big car show in Des Moines last Saturday. The weather was beautiful. And I'm telling you that the corn and the beans and the Iowa countryside look absolutely beautiful. The rolling hills of field after field of our good old green, corn and beans, and the food for the world that's right out our doorstep. So from one senior, that being me to you, get out and go for a ride, for God's sakes. If it's too hot in the afternoon, wait for it to cool off. If you want to have a good cool ride in the morning, get those windows down, no air conditioning, and go for a ride in the country. And I'm not a proponent of gravel roads, so just weave your way around the eastern Iowa on some hard surface roads. You'll actually have a lot of fun and see a lot of things that it just makes you great and happy and proud to live in Iowa. And so I had a good time. I actually had a good time at the car show. It's called Good Guys Car Club, and a member of that. A lot of guys from Iowa City there. I saw lots of my friends from Iowa City. Saw my mechanic there from Iowa City, but he didn't see me, so I'll have to assess him a root beer for that. And by the way, I need you to grab a sandwich and an ice cold root beer. If you're going to listen to Senior Talk, you can't do it without a sandwich and an ice cold root beer. So I forgot about that. You get with that for sure. So right now I saw my mechanic. He didn't see me, so I'll have to beat him up later on something else. So there were about 4,800 old cars. That's 4,800 old cars and about, I'd say, 15 to 20,000 people at the state fairgrounds. And it's a great setting if you like old cars. You don't have to have an old car to go there. Lots and lots of people walk in to see the cars. Everything times two that you ever thought about old cars and groups are there. And the people selling things and car related and just all wheels and engines. And if you like Dave Kindig and Kevin from his program, they were there. I was standing about 2 feet from Dave Kindig. Great operation. So it's a good time up there. It's at the state fairgrounds. It's a wonderful time. Great venue. And outdoor music going throughout the whole fairgrounds. It's just a great setting. I have a lot of fun driving my old car up there. With any old car, I hope to make it there, and I sure as heck hope to make it back. And I did great, so my mechanic's doing a great job there. So, well, too bad for all of you who have a nice old car sitting in your garage that you never drive. Too bad. I've got a guy down the street from mine who's got a really nice old car, a convertible, that he bought when he was a kid in high school, and he still got it. And it sits in the garage, and I don't think it's been out. I have another friend that has a really nice GTO. It hasn't been out in probably 30 years. I just don't understand it. Get them out, guys. Get them out. Well, I am very aware of several friends and local seniors who are now having health issues. And I guess a lot of it comes with age. Some of it doesn't. Some of it's just kind of the cards we get dealt, I guess. We don't have any choice in the matter, and we all understand that. And it's just not good to know how many of your friends are having issues, health issues. And I don't mean a sore knee or a sore toe. I mean big time stuff. And so my heart and sympathy and empathy are out to you folks and their families, things that you're going through or will go through, and all those kinds of things. And my dad used to say, and he made it to about 75, by the way, not all that long. He said there's no gold in the golden years, and you kind of have to think that through a little bit. Sometimes there's not, and sometimes there is. But the number one issue that we all look at as seniors is our health. So good luck to you with your health and your issues, and maybe step by step, day by day, but we really don't know what's in store for us in the future. So good luck to all of you who have some issues for sure. Well, I'd like to give you some good old facts and figures about seniors. Now, you don't have to be a senior to extrapolate these things or pertain to you, but let's go through some things here. First of all, I thank the good Lord for letting me get this far at 74, and I don't know if there's any more or not. Who knows? Could get run over this afternoon. You just never know. I hope not. I got a lot of things I need to do. Besides, who would take salt down to the water softener if I'm going? My wife can't do it, so I'm okay with it. So here's the scoop, folks. For age 60, now in my little world, at age 60 and up is a senior. Now at age 50, you get bombarded by AARP to say their stuff, which you may or may not agree with. I'm with you on that. For age 60 and up, this is up 33%. From 55 million to 75, from 55 million to 75 million of population. 30 million are women and 25 million are men. So age 60 and up, 30 million. 50, excuse me, folks. What a dummy! You get to be a senior, you can't talk sometime. Age 60 and up, 30 million women and 55 million men. Wow, what a number that is. That's at age 78 and up. At age 78 and up, you're 78 years old and older. 178 women for every 100 men in that age bracket. 178 women. Why is that? Well, that's because there's more women than men. Well, not particularly. We just saw that wasn't true in the first scenario there. It's because men have a shorter lifespan. In days gone by, the man of the house, this is generally 100% generalization, the man generally had a job 8 to 5 or more days and just plain wore out. And the ladies certainly had a job, and maybe they had a job. I don't mean real job. I don't mean that at all. Carrying the kids, trust me, is a real job for sure. But that's just the way it works out. So age 78 and above, 178 men for every 100 women for every 100 men. At age 65 and up, makes up 16% of the United States population. And it's getting bigger. All right? 65 and up makes up 16% of the U.S. population and getting bigger. And I always think that everybody who's, quote, old lives around here. They all get in front of me at Hy-Vee. They all get in front of me on the highway. That's what I think. In 1970, the percent of seniors who finished high school, listen to this one. In 1970, now that'd be what, 50 years ago? Seems like 54. God, this seems like yesterday, matter of fact. 28% of seniors had finished high school. Remember now, they had gone through the Depression, World War II. Now by 2022, it went up to 89%. Wow. In 1970, 28% of seniors had finished high school, and it's now up to 89%. So we'll call that 90%, from 30% to 90%. That is huge. I would say that's one of the most remarkable figures of education I've heard. Wow, that's wonderful. In 2022, 70% of men 65 and older were married. 48% of women were married. Now think that one through. 70% of men 65 and older were married, but only 48% of the women. Well, because the men had passed away, for sure, due to the deaths of their husband. 60% of 65 and older live with a spouse or partner. So 3/4 of us who are 65 and older live with a spouse or partner, or a significant other, whatever you want to call it. Okay, that's 6. So 2/3 of us, right? 50% of those 65 and above in the United States live in 9 states. 50% of 65 and above live in 9 states. So that's 50%. We saw up above up there. There's 30 million women and 25 million men. So that's what's that? 55 million of us, 65 and up. Well, 50% of those. So we're going to call that 27.5%. 27.5 million live in 9 states. California has 5.8 million people 65 and older. Florida has 4.5 million. And if you've been to Florida, that's not a very big state down there, so they are congregated everywhere. I mean, it's like old folks week. I've been there. Heck, I'm one of them, don't worry. Texas has 3.7 million. New York has 3.3 million. Pennsylvania, 2.4. Ohio, 2. For sure. Michigan has 1.8. Illinois has 1.8. North Carolina, 1.1. You can kind of see where they're kind of lining up. I'm kind of surprised that there's so many in like New York, Pennsylvania, and Illinois and Michigan. There's probably looks like be about 8 million people there. Most seniors leave for weather and health reasons, for sure. Iowa now has approximately how many age 65 and up? 18% of our population is so we'll call that 1 out of 5, we're going to call it, is 65 and up. How many are there in Iowa? 600,000 of us. 600,000 of us, all right? The biggest challenges for people 65 and above, according to every survey I have read, number 1 is ageism. Now, what's that? Ageism. Well, that's basically people picking on you because your age, or you have feelings just it's your age is causing you issues, or not to be able to do this, or not to be able to include it in that. That's called ageism. Number 1, ageism is a loss of purpose after you retire. Loss of purpose. You no longer have the job. You're no longer on the job. You're no longer the guy who was in charge of 14 people. You're no longer the lady who was in charge of that department. You're no longer the employee who was looked upon to all kinds. You're the go-to guy. You were the go-to lady, and now you're retired, and now all you get done is read the newspaper and maybe go for a walk in the morning. Okay. Loss of purpose, which is extremely excruciating on your mind and on your self-drive and things like that. So that's a big thing. So that's why a lot of people retire, and they do what they can for a while, and they go, God, I got to do something. Even if I'm not picking on Hy-Vee groceries, because a lot of seniors work there. Even if I work at Hy-Vee and sack groceries or sweep the floors, I've got something to do. Even if I have a place to go, I have a place to go. I get up in the morning. I've got a purpose, and that's what that's all about. Number 2 would be financial security. The biggest challenges for 65 financial security. Well, I didn't do too well along the way, so I have my Social Security and I've got $10,000 in the bank. Well, that probably won't be enough to pay the funeral home, so your Social Security, but that's what you put together for yourself. So now you have to kind of live within those means. So financial security. Will your finances that you have support your lifestyle that you like? You hopefully, when you retired, you had set that all up so that your lifestyle, whether you change it up or down or faster or slower, that you put together a financial package, a financial blanket that would help you sustain that. And I mean, get this, not only sustain, but get this. If you go to a financial planner now, they plan that you're going to make it to age 95, that your income should make it to age 95. 95? That's true. The fastest growing segment of our population, 100 years and older, centenarians. 100 years and up is the fastest growing population. Well, you think that through the percentage is faster because there aren't that many. So if 150 people make it to age 100, the percentage is up quite a bit. That's what goes on. Everyday tasks. It's sometimes hard to get around. Remember things. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to pick Johnny up. I was supposed to go to the stop. I drove right home. Well, that's part of it. That's not ALZ, by the way. That is forgetfulness. That's pretty normal. Now, it can go past that, but for the most of us, I forgot to stop and pick up the groceries or the dry cleaning. That's pretty normal stuff, all right? Care issues. Well, I've got some care issues. I need to have somebody come into the house here, at a minimum, clean the house or maybe help me with a couple meals a day. Or, I just had the surgery and now I need someone to come to the house. Who do I call? Care issues. And finally here, access to care. If I have that problem, who do I call? I mean, where am I going to go with my issues? My doctor said you need to call these people, so I did, but they're booked solid. Now what do I do? So it's a worry that you have about access to care. I've got three big facts facing seniors. Well, got a lot of facts facing seniors, but biologically speaking, a change in metabolism. What? A change in the metabolism, which is par for the course for getting older. Slower metabolism. All in all, we eat less. We eat better because we eat less, so why waste it on a few things? A slower metabolism. These are all proven. These aren't things Rex made up, folks. These are all proven scientific facts. Loss of taste. Now, I don't know that I have noticed that. I told somebody the other night I had a hamburger somewhere. I said, boy, that was a pretty good hamburger. So apparently I still have some taste. My wife says I have no taste. So that must be a different kind of a taste. I don't. And here's another big fact. It's the buccal cavity gives us problems. The old buccal cavity, that's your mouth. That would be loose-fitting dentures and missing teeth, wrong eyeglass prescription. You're just kind of all over the place with your facial amenity type of thing, all right? That's what that is. Maybe you haven't taken care of yourself, so you've got some teeth issues that are visible, maybe you've got some loose-fitting dentures. Well, you don't want to go back to that guy or that lady. It costs a lot of money to do that. Well, folks, you're spending money on yourself. And eyesight issues, cataracts. I'm there. My wife calls me Mr. Magoo half the time. Now, I am scheduled for cataract surgery in August, so I'm going to have that done. I just started noticing things weren't quite normal, and I had an eye test from my eye doctor, and he said, guess what you're a great prospect for? And I said, well, I don't know. What would that be, Doc? And he said, cataract surgery. And I said, well, I have to tell you that thank you for the information, but that's for old people. And I'm sitting there, 74 years old, and he started laughing. He said, well, I think you're there. So a couple weeks ago, I went to he set me up with a clinic, which took me over a month to get in to meet with the doctor. I haven't had the surgery yet. Over a month to meet with the eye doctor, for the surgeon. So I did that. Now I'm scheduled for, August sometime. I'll keep you posted if anybody's interested. And that's going to happen. And the doctor said, what do you think about all these tests? He says, you're definitely there. I said, I want you to tell me this. You've done a million of these, right? Yes. It's a young lady. Yes, I have. I said, so you're a professional. I understand that. That's why I'm here. Tell me I'm the average normal guy my age who needs this, and they're like, this isn't the weirdest case you've ever seen. She said, you are the average normal guy. This isn't the weirdest case I've ever seen by far. But remember, it's surgery, so there's that disclaimer. So I'm doing my best just to go in there and get it done. I have one week and then one 10 days later. So many of you have been there, and you say it's a piece of cake. So let me ask you this. If you've been there and it's a piece of cake, how many of you have had cataract surgery, but you won't go have a colonoscopy? Yeah, I see some hands. I see all of a sudden people leaving the room. Not good, folks. I mean, they can determine. It sounds crazy that they can look in the wrong place in our body to find out so many things about us, but that's what it is. Now, the reason you don't have a colonoscopy because everybody tells you this. Number one, you'd like to know the results. You would love to know the results whether you've got issues or not. But number two is you know the procedure and what they do. And number three is, which might end up being number one, you don't want to end up drinking a gallon of that river water out of the Seine River in Paris that they won't swim in because it's so polluted for the Olympics. You don't want to drink a gallon of stuff because all of your buddies have told you how crappy it tastes. Oh, they're not far from wrong. But the results are amazing. The results are very, very comforting. Whether they find an issue or not, at least you know. All right. So there's a shot across your bow. If you're holding off on that, forget it. I want to tip my hat and my salute to lots and lots of people who retired beginning on July 1, the first day of the fiscal year. So June 30th was your last day. My salute to you. Congratulations to you for making it well over those years. Wherever you worked, whether you worked at the same place for 42 years or you worked for 16 places, you decided you put together a nice package for yourself. Not that you won't go back to work or find something to do, but you retired. And good luck to you, and I mean that sincerely, and congratulations to you. Good for you. Well, how dedicated are grandparents? How dedicated are grandparents? Well, we were at a retirement party for a cousin of mine in Mount Pleasant, and another cousin was there, and they said, well, we kind of have to leave early, a little bit early, because we've got to go see some grandkids. Now, we were in Mount Pleasant. So I said, well, where are you going to go, Dad? Where's the dad going to go? And he says, well, I'm going up to Field of Dreams because our grandson from Cedar Falls is playing at the Field of Dreams. Their Little League team going to play a game up there, an exhibition game. So he says, I'm heading to the Field of Dreams. Now, we are in Mount Pleasant. So he's down there about 1:30, so he's going to drive up there. I'm going to tell you that's an hour and a half. And the mom, his wife, says, well, I'm heading to Davenport. What was she going to do? Her granddaughter was playing in a softball deal. So my wife and I were thinking, hey, we just drove to Mount Pleasant. We'll have a piece of cake and a root beer and sit here and talk to people and then go home. That's a big afternoon. Not for grandparents, man. Not for grandparents at all. They're just getting started. More power to you. More power to them. And I just said, well, you know something? I'd be doing the same thing if I had grandkids. I'd be all over them. I'm sure of that. So that's how dedicated they are. That's just a minor story. I know you guys all have stories out there, all the sacrifices, and I really think that's cool stuff. I really, really do. So good luck to you. Get to see those little boys and girls, whether it's sports or baton twirling or choir or whatever it is. Good for you, playing in the band. All right. I've got something here we're going to talk about. It's called Rex's official Senior Talk Behavioral Survey. This is probably one and done. You guys are probably running me off the road here, but official Senior Behavioral Survey. And if you can answer or yes or nod your head or roll your eyes or look at someone in your home or at work, wherever you're listening at today, thank you, by the way, then you're in trouble. All right, number one, do you shop at the same grocery store all the time? Do you go there because of the prices or because you know where everything is? Can't have both. All right, number one, do you park at roughly the same spot at the grocery store all the time? Well, I'm pretty famous for parking next to the cart return. Now, if you got a really brand new shiny car, you don't do that because some people let them fly and push them across the bang in your car. But that's what I like to do. All right. Do you go to the grocery store to pick up 3 or 4 things without a list? It can't come home with everything. Oh, darn it, I forgot the milk. Is that you? I see some of you kind of looking around or anything. Do you fill up the car with gas at the same station all the time because you know how to use the pump with your credit card? You're afraid to go to that one down the street because you don't know what the pumps are like over there, and you don't really care about the price of gas other than it's too damn high. We all know that, but we got to put it in our car. Do you eat the same thing for breakfast every day? Now, I have a cousin that eats oatmeal and banana not 24/7, but 365 a year. He's a doctor. So I said, explain to me why a doctor would eat a banana and oatmeal every day. Well, because he goes into the litany about potassium and the oats and the cleaning out your stomach and the walls and the lining. So I just roll my eyes. He does that 365, folks. I've been with him on vacations. That's what he does. All right. And one more time, I'm going to ask you, are you stalling off a colonoscopy? I can tell you 3 names of my friends who had a colonoscopy, and they wheeled them right upstairs and did surgery, and they all ended up having cancer. Thank God they went and got a colonoscopy. Do you listen to the same radio station all the time? Do you tell your wife or husband or other that, hey, you can't hear, you should get an eye check or a hearing check? You do that all the time? Are they yelling at you? Do you have pretty much the same menu at your house all the time? And have for a long time? You do that all the time? Yeah, are you afraid to try something new? Well, I don't know. I haven't tried. I saw that on the TV. I don't know if that's for us. Well, folks, give it a whirl for God's sakes. This is me. I have to tell you all these. Is your wardrobe full of shirts and shoes you've owned and worn for 20 years? I had pulled a shirt out the other day, and it was from a fireworks show that I went to in 2020. Now, I don't think I've worn it since. And a really nice-looking T-shirt with big fireworks exploding on the back. And it was up in Appleton, Wisconsin. It said, Appleton Firefest 2020. I've had it for 24 years. It's been in my closet. What am I thinking? Do you sit in the same spot at church or at a movie all the time? We always sit up front to the right. No, we always go to the movie theater. We sit in the middle of the theater. We sit on the out. Are you? I like this, and I'm going to just lay this one. I'm stepping on toes. My middle name is Step on Toes. Are you on trial at your house all the time because you have become the family pain in the family? You know who you are. Has your family given up trying to get you to change your ways? That's it. We've tried 1,000 times to get Dad to not do that, to do this or that. All right. And finally, get you out of this mess here, folks. Are you going to just keep living like you have been and don't care what others think? That's probably the best answer to all those. I don't care what everybody thinks. I'm going to keep doing whatever I do. It's me. I'm Charlie. I'll do whatever I do. However, I want you, all of you, to seriously consider whether it's you or your friends or someone in your family. A colonoscopy would be great. An eye checkup, a denture checkup type of thing, a hearing. You know something, you've had back pain all your life. How about a nice trip to the chiropractor and let those professionals help you? They're there to help. The backs, everybody's got you could do nothing and wreck your back. You don't know why. All you did was just turn or look or didn't turn and look, and now your back's got a problem. Call a chiropractor, folks. Absolutely. Get going. For sure. What this all says is that you need to kind of take a look and kind of surmise and put together all the chips and all the pluses and the minuses of yourself. Well, you know, I've got the tooth problem. I really should go see a dentist, and your front tooth has been knocked out for 8 years. Come on, folks. Your eyeglasses are, circa 1964, and maybe you haven't had an eye checkup for a long time, and you squint half the time. Maybe it's time for an eye checkup. For gosh sakes, folks, Medicare might or might not pay for it, depending on what plan you have. Do some research. We're seniors. We got to take care of ourselves. There's nobody left to take care of us. We got to do it ourselves, for sure. All right. Enough of the quiz. I hope you passed, but I know most of you had issues with a lot of things on there. Well, I'm going to talk about Manville Heights. That's the area of town, the old money into town up in the northwest part of original part of Iowa City. First and Avenue, Richard Street, Hutchinson, up in there. That's what we're going to talk about. Here's what happened to Bert Martha Manville. Bert Manville was the guy who was the developer up there, and he bought the land from the Hutchison family. And the Hutchisons lived on Park Road. Now, Park Road got its name because it goes past the park that Iowa City has out there. And by the way, they're going to close the pool at the end of the season and recubulate the swimming pool that we all loved and grew up with. All right, lots going on. So Bert Manville bought all that land from the Hutchison family. The Hutchison lived on Park Road, and if you go to Park Road, just west past the upper entrance to Upper City Park, on the south side of the road, there's a big old stone house. That was the Hutchinson house, the 1840s, now owned by the University of Iowa. So Bert Manville bought that, and he said at the top of this thing, it says, "If you buy the first lot in my subdivision, I will name a street after you." So here's Bert Manville, bought all the land, basically from the Iowa River on the east, up over the hill and down the hill. That's how River Street got its name, because it goes from the River Street on Riverside Drive, which got its name because of the river. And then River Street goes up over the hill and then down to Rocky Shore. And by the way, I have walked that. If you want to have a little workout for yourself, start on the east side and walk up River Street. Check with your doctor first, because it's a hump. I'll tell you, I've done it many times, most recently. And then down the other side, down River Street, down to Rocky Shore. It's a good workout for you, and the River Street is a hump, I'm going to tell you. All right, so Manville said, if you told this man, if you'll buy a lot from me, the first lot, you got to get going, I will name a street. Who was that? Who was it? What's the name of the street? Do you know who that would be? Well, that would be the Fursons, Dr. Furson. Professor Merton Furson of the University of Iowa College of Law. He bought the very first lot in the new Manville Heights subdivision. That'd be circa 1920s. Furson did buy the first lot, and Manville did name the street. So Furson is named after a law professor at the University of Iowa. Actually, Professor Furson bought several more. He bought more than one lot and a number of lots in a square block. He thought he'd buy them and make some money himself. So there you go. All right. Well, Manville bought all that ground. He had a big idea. He got the right of first refusal and an option to buy it from the Hutchison family. And Manville quickly went to the university and said, "I got this large chunk of land over there, right across the river from the university, and I'd like to sell it to you." And the university said, "Guess what?" He said, "What?" "No, we don't want it." So they didn't buy it. So that kind of set him back. And Manville had bought 80 acres, and he was trying to sell them 40 acres. River Street is the main thoroughfare, gained its name at the rather obvious fashion. It runs the Riverside Drive down to Rocky Shore. And Rocky Shore got its name because, why? Do you remember the street even when I was in high school? It was rocky. It's along the shore. That's how it got. Everybody started calling the Rocky Drive along the shore Rocky Shore Drive. All right, the semicircle. Then up on top of the hill, there's City Park, Normandy Drive, and Black Springs Circle. Now, Richard Street's up there, Richard, was named after, get this, Mrs. Manville's sister, Cora Richards. Well, there's a scientific name. There's no, when you own the land, you can name it roughly whatever you want. McGowan was named for the city engineer, Mr. McGowan. So as Bert Manville worked with the city to get that going, they had to work with the city of engineering department, and I don't know Mr. McGowan's first name. I don't know. I'll find that out. He named a street after him. So you wonder what he got in exchange for that. Makes you wonder. I don't know if he got anything or not. Ellis Avenue, as recalled by some older Iowa Cityans, was named after the Reverend Sylvester E. Ellis, pastor of the Methodist Church, the downtown First United Methodist Church. Sylvester Ellis was the preacher there, and that's what Manville attended, so he named it after Sylvester Ellis. So it's Ellis Street. McLean Street, of course, was named after President George McLean, as was McLean Hall on the University of Iowa campus. And Bayard Street, B-A-Y-A-R, is named after the Iowa town where Mr. Manville grew up. So you see how Bayard, wonder who Bayard. I had a friend of mine lived on Bayard Street named Milo Waddips. A great guy. I met him through Boy Scouts, and Milo was a great guy. Now, folks, you have to bear with me here because when I put this all together, I put a page in here upside down, and that just shows that you're dealing with a senior here, and so be it. So there we go. I'll put that page back in there for sure. Now, Wolf Avenue, that's where the farm, Wolf Avenue, that's the bridge that goes across Highway 6, right next to VA. Wolf Avenue got its name. It has 2 O's in it, by the way. That's where the farmhouse stood, where the Veterans Hospital is. All right, isn't that neat? Lexington Avenue had originally been named Woodlawn. I was like that. In Lexington Avenue had originally been named Woodlawn, but the name conflicted with Woodlawn at the east end of Iowa Avenue, which we've talked about. East end of Iowa Avenue, there's a little area up there called Woodlawn. It's where the governor lived. There's like 5 or 6 houses there now. Go drive through there. It's great. The city council realized that the name kind of conflicted, so they went back to Manville, and he said, well, okay, we'll do something else. And Ed Rate, who was a longtime client, a longtime lawyer here in town, said, well, we should rename it something that has some prestige, something official sound like Lexington. So that's how it got its name. They tried to upsell people with a fancy name, Lexington. All right. Isn't that interesting? I like this part. Here's, I think, one of the funnest ones here. Many photographs were taken of Iowa City and the University of Iowa by a man named Fred Kent. And yes, Kent Studios was part of the family, became part of the family, and others in this family. And he started taking pictures on campus and in Iowa City in the 19-teens. I think I've seen pictures from Fred, and I met him several times in the 1915, maybe even before that. All along, he documented things, and I was great photos. And down at the bottom, it says, photo by Kent, University this. Then he worked later at the university, or a photographer at the University of Iowa. So there are thousands and thousands of pictures of photos by Kent. Well, Fred Kent and his wife lived at 302 Richard Street. Now, that wasn't one of the earliest houses, but they moved over there. So 302 Richard Street. Now, I would tell you, if you're out for a ride, to go drive by 302 Richard Street. I don't know who lives there. I'm not trying to get you to trespass or stop and talk to them and say, do you know who used to live here? It's just a little history you can do if you like this kind of thing, which I do. You can go for a little ride, and then go to the Dairy Queen on Riverside Drive and drive up there to 302 Richard. Just drive around and turn around at the east end of Richard Street, the very east end of Richard Street's on the northeast corner. That's where Burt Manville lived. There you go, folks. I'm having fun today. So that's the story. So much. The 4th of July is behind us. We got sweet corn ahead of us. That's the big trade-off here. So take care of yourself. Maybe pick up on some of those things we talked about for you or your friends, and go get them. We're seniors, and have at it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time right here on Senior Talk. We'll see you next time. So long.
Looking for a place with a fun, casual atmosphere? Check out the Solon American Legion.